Hey, hello. It's been such a busy week with the horrific visions opening up. I haven't had a chance to do hardly anything on the alts, let alone the dells. Oh, I thought I would kind of do a clip here, clear the dells, and talk about what we're seeing this week so far. So the horrific visions are pretty fun content, but they were fun the first time around. I will say they were a little tricky because I went in remembering what I did the first time, try to clear all the sections, but it wasn't really set up like that. They don't give you enough sanity to really do any of that right at first. Then once you start to get some currency and you unlock your hourglass, then you can do a little bit more. But even then, you could only do so much, so. I was sure able to do, some of the achievements. Hey. He really wanted to kill me there. I was able to do some of the achievements, but, up to, I guess, a 4 mask full clear, but I couldn't do the 5 mask because I just didn't have enough sanity. And if you have that Mask of Multitudes on along with the Vengeance mask, it's actually pretty tough. So you're getting bolstering along with a ton more mobs actually. So yeah, like I said, the hourglass you couldn't just keep unlocking, unfortunately, so I think progress is going to be a little time gated. But I did get all the masks we get this week, which is 5. And I got all the mounts you can get this week, which I think there were 3. And then I got the parts for the void cycle going, so. Which is all okay. And it was still pretty fun because we have something else to do besides just dungeons and delves and raids. But overall, it's pretty fun. I mean, that horrific visions needs to stretch out for, I guess the next content we're going to get is the overcharged delves. So, and that's not for, I think, a few weeks here. So, I think. So I guess if they need to stretch out this content some, then that's what they need to do. Kind of funny to frosting over these guys when they try to charge. So I did get a chance to play some Arcane this week in Raid and Mythic Plus, and it's okay. But, I think I'm coming away with the feeling that I know the numbers will probably prove wrong, but at least as far as when I play Frost versus Arcane, yeah, your numbers are going to be lower at the start of those big pulls, right? So Arcane can really burst really good if you got a big target and a nice chunk of mobs, because you're getting some great funnel there. But then I've noticed playing with the same people that as that the course to say a dungeon continues along, I'm going to end up overall pretty close to where I am on Frost. So I don't know that I'm losing a whole ton, at least at the, whoa, at least at the key range I'm doing, which is 13s and some 14s and some 12s. And I'm playing with some pretty good Mythic Plus pumpers, playing the meta classes, so I don't feel like Frost is so far behind that I'm really hurting the group. I think Brand's saying I suck. Yeah, could be.
Smell that? It's treasure. I know it. We're close.
Now I will say, so when we talk about a raid, then I think Frostfire single target is actually very strong, and I don't think I can beat what I do with that as arcane, because I'm not competent enough in that. But I can go to a fight like Styx. Actually, I can do several hundred DPS or 100,000 DPS better as arcane on that particular fight. So. But we had a couple arcane mages or people trying to play arcane in our raids, and yeah, I can see how the damage profile works. You get the bursts around the, of course, arcane surge, but you just can't maintain throughout a fight. So depending on how the timings work out, and if something goes wrong during your burst window, it doesn't seem as consistent as I can get with Frost, because Frost is, if nothing else, pretty consistent. We can have things happen that are not ideal during our cooldown window, but then again, our cooldown window is not so restrictive as arcane is, or fire. So I think as long as you're playing Frost and you're keeping all your casts going, you can do pretty competitively on the single target bosses. Or at least that's been my experience so far.
I require a target.
Though, of course, if you look at the charts Wowhead likes to push out on how all the classes are representing in Mythic Raid, Frost mages are, you look at that chart and you go, man, why would you ever play Frost? You're like at the very bottom of the charts. And to be honest, I don't really think it's that bad in reality, but in a way, that is a good thing as well if you like to play Frost, simply because it's been looking like that on the charts for several weeks in a row, and I just saw Blizzard push out a blue post saying that Frost is getting a 3% all abilities buff, which is not gigantic, but as I said, I don't really think Frost is that far behind. I think a buff like that's actually going to be pretty nice. And if nothing else, that's going to get more more people playing Frost the next couple of weeks, so maybe it won't be so hard if you're trying to get into mythic groups and they ask you if you're Frost, and say yeah. You go, oh, well, we're looking for anything else.
I need to target something first.
We'll have to see how it all pans out, but a 3% aura buff is actually nothing to sneeze at there.
Fantastic!
It is not ready yet. I require a target.
Let's see what's left to do. 2 more extractors, and I guess a few more ads. Kind of not liking the way they a lot of time gating going on with a lot of their stuff, just like the cartel chips. You know, this week we can do 4 mythic dungeons. We'll get a piece of heroic raid loot, right? And my alts aren't all uber geared, you know, they're not all raiding full heroic every week. Nothing like that. They might get a dungeon. They've certainly been earning gilded crest, and I leveled up my gear, so this one's 673. But it does make me think, do I actually need heroic trinkets from that puzzling cartel ship? I don't think that I actually do. And then I look, well, do I need any of the heroic trinkets out of the dungeons? Well, I don't actually know that I do. I don't have uber trinkets, but I have okay trinkets. But you know, we're time gated pretty heavily, so it's going to take us, what, 3 weeks to get more cartel chips to get the next piece. And even if we do get that, I'm not going to be grinding out 12s on all my alts so I can get mythic dungeon trinkets. That sure doesn't sound like very much fun. I mean, I got that done on my main, but yeah, I don't really see why now I gotta go do it on all my alts too. But yeah, I ain't gonna do that.
I do not have a target.
I work on my main for stuff like that. And then the time I got left, I go play my alts. And you know, well, I guess this alt's pretty low. I think because I haven't done Cinderbrew yet, but yeah. I just don't see how they think people gonna go plow through all that stuff on their alts too. So that should have been an account-wide unlock. I don't see how it could hurt anything. And it's just like time gating the horrific vision hourglass unlock. I mean, there's not any big power rewards tucked behind the horrific visions. I mean, I guess the head enchant, right? So it was nice that you can get the lesser head enchant on all your alts. But that hasn't proven to be a real huge buff. So, like I said, I don't know why they felt they had to time gauge your progress in there. I can certainly see, hey, you're not going to be able to do everything until you get to go to Ogrimmar, because it was that way before. There were some things you could do when it first came out, and you could do it in Stormwind only, but then some things you only do once Ogrimmar came up, so that's alright. But we've only unlocked the very first tier of that hourglass with all the buffs we'll need to be plowing more masks. And I don't really see why we had to lock that. Not entirely sure what how much they're going to open up per week, and maybe they're just going to time it out so you're just unlocking the rest of the hourglass by the time we get overcharged delves. But I think that's 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away, so no. I think they could have rethought that a little bit. I like doing that content, but some people don't take it as seriously. I mean, they're going to do it, but by the time if they don't start working on it this week, then they're just going to be behind. So, and that means they're never going to finish the content. That stunning power-up, supposedly you run over what looks like an electric potion and it's supposed to stun everything. It doesn't seem to work all the time. Sometimes I see it stun mobs, but there it didn't touch anybody. Because it don't matter too much, but if it says it stuns mobs, it should stun mobs. Oh, right. Oh, here we go. Oh, looks like I collected everything I need to collect. Alright. It's definitely been a pretty busy week, trying out all the different horrific visions and trying to work through with multiple mass and full runs. Oh man. I thought I'd successfully skip by these guys.
I require a target.
Time is money.
knew these must be an enrage or something. Well, next Tuesday we'll see how that buff for frost pans out, see if it helps bump us up a little bit. Like I said, I don't feel like it's really bad in raids. I could have used a little bump compared to the other two specs in Mythic Plus, because I can do more as arcane if the pulls are lining up correctly, right? I think actually when it's just Mythic Plus bosses, Frost is just as good, if not better than Arcane, if there's nothing to funnel for Arcane there. But definitely when we're pulling the big three-pack groups, and you got a big fat mob like maybe a Peacemaker from Motherload, Arcane does really well at that. But so Frost could use a little hand up in that. I tried Fire a little bit too, but I couldn't get the hang of that as much as Arcane, and certainly not Frost. So. But I'm not sure that everyone's playing Fire that much anymore either. I think they've all moved over to Arcane. So. All good though. Thanks for coming along for the ride. I'm sure I'll be doing some more Delve videos. Talk about other stuff I noticed this week, and what we got coming up. Hey. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.